know what Sony had? The Holy Trinity. Leo, Brad, and Margot. Who do you have?
Bienvenue dans la fête des garçons, le podcast qui parle des collaborations les plus légendaires du cinéma. Ces films où deux acteurs célébrés en partagent l'affiche. Je suis Lucien Rodelli et je suis accompagné, comme toujours, par le facteur du village en peau éméchée qui m'héberge, Shane Kelly. And actual French speaker Pierce Mulholland is also on the show. Welcome! How did I do?
Hello.
How did I do?
Yeah, good.
Did what he say make sense?
Do you know what I said?
I got most of it. The phrase for Shane is the one I kind of
Couldn't figure out what that was. Okay.
couldn't figure that one out.
So what I put into Google Translate was, I'm Lucien Daly, and I'm joined, as always, by the drunkard village postman who's letting me live in his house. It's Shane
yes.
Kelly. So Google Translate came up with le facteur du village en peau éméchée qui m'héberge.
Yeah,
That's a
but
messy
it's
sentence.
very like
There's a lot going on
direct, but
Yeah, that's messy. I should have left it at the basic part.
no, it's still pretty good. Like,
Well, it's Bastille Day, everybody, and we're here to talk about French cinema, and we have the number one person who has walked into the room, seen that we're recording the show, and had to walk straight back out over the years, finally making his first appearance to talk about something that he knows far more about than either of us, mainstream French comedy film. Pierce is on the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
thank you so much. It's a pleasure to finally the third boy in the boy party that
Exactly.
is our rented accommodation.
Exactly.
I'm so relaxed. I'm not listening for footsteps in the distance at all. This is
So
fantastic.
this is what was removed when Pierce is on the actual show. It's Bastille Day, a thing we definitely knew was going to be definitely knew this episode was going to release on Bastille Day more than 30 seconds ago. And we're celebrating by talking about the most successful French film at the French box office ever, which is Dany Boon's 2008 comedy Bienvenue Chez Les Ch'tis, which is known in the English-speaking world as Welcome to the Sticks. And this is an unfathomably successful French comedy that propelled Dany Boon and his co-star Kad Merad into world domination and French comedy history. And Pierce has seen a lot of these guys' work, which we have not seen, and has a long and upstanding relationship with this film. And we are excited to talk about a foreign film industry and a culture that we don't normally do on the show. And it is kind of embarrassing that this is the first foreign language film we've ever done. Really bad.
Is it?
Really bad. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh wow.
We've never done a foreign language
Not a
film.
single one.
No. Like, we really should.
We did the English Almodovar.
We did the English-speaking Almodovar.
Yeah.
We haven't done any Irish language Irish films. We didn't do Sentimental Value as its own episode. We really dropped the ball with this. So, the beginning of a new era here of being Misters worldwide.
Yes.
Here on the show.
But I think like if you're going to start, I guess, delving into the foreign language,
Yeah.
French film is probably where to start.
I think
because
so.
it's kind of much more, I think, accessible in the English speaking
It's definitely, and it definitely operates on the same commercial lines as Hollywood and British film does. I mean, these guys in this movie function as movie stars within the French industry in a very similar way to how American movie stars operate, which you can't really say about like Norwegian cinema or other countries, smaller countries. So it fits very well into our format, and it's also a film that many of you listeners may have seen because it's so successful, it's easy to watch, and also I remember it being included in our school French textbook. There was like a comprehension on it, and I remember our teacher reading it with us and kind of not having seen it herself, but being like, yeah, I don't know, this is like a really big French film. I guess this would have been in like 2011, 2012. So they obviously had put it in the edition of the book that came out like a year or two after the film. Do you remember this?
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest. You didn't do French.
I didn't do French.
Never
yeah.
mind.
Yeah, I feel like there's like a handful of movies that if you studied French in secondary school in Ireland, well, I know statistically in Ireland, I think like 2/3 of students or something study French, so quite a lot of people will have
across these films.
kind of come across it. It's a very interesting one though to show in school because like for me, my relationship with this film is kind of almost the span of my learning French.
Yes.
Like I first saw it in school, and you have like, and I found it when I was watching with you guys, the subtitles are kind of trying to like showcase the basically like the whole
gimmick
point
of how the people talk, but they've had to come up with a whole new joke for the subtitles, which doesn't work as well at all.
But from me, like going from having to rely on English subtitles in secondary school to understanding actually a lot, and even being able to, when we were watching it, there was like, I think he's Dany Boon's character who has this ch'ti accent. He's saying like office, but they're translating it as offish. And I actually remember that translation in the subtitles from when I was in school. And I was like, oh, that's weird. But it turned out he was saying dog and another word that I'm not familiar with. So dog in French is chien. And he was saying chien. And they were like, I don't know what you're trying to say.
It's weird. It's almost like the person who wrote the English subtitles had to kind of come up with an entirely new script with new jokes to replace the jokes that are there. But most of the time, it's just putting a H at the end of a word.
Yeah,
to try and simulate the speech impediment, kind of like. But it's not even a speech impediment. It's like it's a dialect, or is it like a dying language?
So it's like one of those really interesting things about France is that, not to go too much into like a history lesson, but like the French Constitution basically, since the First Republic, we all know about the French Revolution, stipulated French is the sole language of France. But at that time, only about 30% of people spoke that language. There's so many regional languages, and it's not something you really understand about France until you learn about it. And Ch'ti is basically a dialect of a language called Picard, which is like a kind of vulgar Roman language based in the north of France. So grammatically now it's very similar to French, but it's more the vocabulary that changes, and that's what's happened over time. So for me, there's times where Dany Boon's character would say a word and I'd never heard of it because it's specific to that region.
But then is the average French person who's fluent in French getting that either? Or are they also going to be lost?
I think they're also lost in it, but it's kind of like, that's why we have Kad Merad in his position where he's almost like the translator and that person who is communicating between Dany Boon's character and I guess the people who live in Nord-Pas-de-Calais, which is the region it was based in.
And would Kad Merad's character, who is we'll do the plot in a second, is like a postal worker down south, and he gets moved up north. It's like punishment, basically. Would he have encountered any people from that region in his life prior to that? Or is he literally, these people never leave their area, he's never met any of them before?
Yeah, I get the feeling in the movie that that's the case.
Yeah, because he's like completely catastrophizing about how bad it's going to be and how bad conditions are going to be, like as if he has never encountered one of these people.
I think it's one of those situations where, like, as with a lot of countries, people move to their capital city.
Yeah.
So I'd say if someone's leaving that area, they're probably just going to Paris. They're not really going. He was near enough to Marseille, I think. So, like, I don't think they'd really be moving down there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, once again... And this is also in 2008 where like there isn't social media, so you're probably not getting exposed to this as much.
Yeah.
But it is very much a caricature of all that, like the north-south divide in France, so that Mediterranean France versus, grey kind of cold weather France. You know, the whole olive oil butter Europe. It's actually, that would actually be a good representation.
Right. And we were saying how, obviously, we were trying to make analogies to Ireland watching this and what the equivalent would be here. But I do think Ireland is too small of a country.
It's just Donegal lad talking about getting frostbite.
That's the next closest thing. But I actually think Ireland's too small of a country to have this big of a divide.
It's almost like someone from London going to like the north in the UK or
maybe northern Scotland.
The north of England, northern Scotland. Even like someone from the UK or America coming to Ireland and experiencing.
But I think you can drive to Donegal and Kerry from Dublin a little bit too fast for these massive cultural divides.
I have
to exist.
encountered some completely incomprehensible West Kerry people.
They exist.
Yeah.
They're incomprehensible. But I think other than the accent, I think culturally speaking, there's not that big of a difference between any one Irish person and another.
And it's not rooted in like this history where there actually is this different language that over centuries was basically shut down by the French.
Yeah.
Does the language gap exist in reverse where the people from that specific area, do they have perfect French, or can they only speak this kind of?
Well, no. I mean, if they were speaking in perfect French, they'd be speaking in French, right? I mean, this is how they've learned to speak, is with this.
It's like how the three of us like have different accents, but like when they're writing and like everything, you know, like there's no written version of this. They would use the proper French words, I'd assume, when writing
it's
like
not
letters to a
Okay,
bank or
right. So
an
it's
email.
entirely a dialect.
It's
rather
very
than
much a verbal
language.
spoken kind of thing. Kind of like how I would use proper English when I write down, but maybe
You'd say me ma. Like,
I'd say me ma, but I
yeah.
wouldn't say that in an
Whereas
email.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say other things that I've picked up from being from the west of Ireland, like, or from having parents from Cork. So the plot of the film is that Kad Merad's character Philippe is pretending to be disabled to get moved to a nice, beautiful job in the, where is he trying to go? Sanary-sur-Mer on the Mediterranean coast to keep his wife happy because she's miserable, and he gets a wheelchair out of a plastic bag in his office and is like hurriedly trying to make himself look like
This
he's
is a common French trope as well.
fake disabilities.
It must be like kind of the time, because I think, like, I don't know if you want to keep describing the plot, but there are a lot of jokes I think in this movie that are very much like that kind of naughties humor that I don't think translates as well now.
It might not translate well now, but I don't think this film has aged too badly.
No, it's not that it's aged
correctness.
badly. It just hasn't. It's
anti-welfare scrounger kind of.
Well, no, like there's kind of the scene where he believes Dany Boon's character is gay.
Yeah,
Okay.
And like he like locks himself into a room.
Yeah,
and you're
that's
kind
a bit more dated.
It's like, you know, when you watch Friends and it's like
Yeah.
every joke is like
Or Wild
Chandler
Hogs.
isn't gay.
Yeah. I would say it's more of an anti-civil servant thing, of like lazy civil servants who
Okay, sure.
try and get out of the slightest bit of work
Yeah.
by, you know, getting moved to nicer, cushy jobs.
Oh, that's timeless.
That's timeless. So he gets caught and they punish him to a town in the north called Berg in the Nord-Pas-de-Calais region, and he and his wife are, well, he kind of lies to his wife and tries to frame it as like a short-term thing. So he's like, I'm going up on my own and then we'll be able to go somewhere nice. And he buys this giant puffy winter coat and he's like, it's gonna be freezing, it's gonna be horrible, and his wife is like, oh, you poor man. And then he arrives there and it's pissing rain, and his accommodation is a joke, so he has to go stay with the local postman, who is kind of stumbling around or cycling around drunk in the middle of the night, who is played by Dany Boon, and that character's name is Antoine. And as you said, first night staying in Antoine's house, he sees photos of Antoine like dressed in drag at some festival on the wall, and starts to board up the door of the room, terrified that he's gay.
But that never really comes back for a second.
No,
well, Antoine does. He like on the
Antoine
first
jokes
day is
about
like
it the next
giving out,
day.
like he's kind of like joking, but
can
also
tell
kind of
what
giving out about him.
Yeah,
If that,
he can
like, it's
tell
one
what
of his
happened.
drunk.
Yeah.
And then Antoine's like feelings for the woman become kind of obvious within the first.
Oh,
half
yeah,
hour.
like that completely
So
takes over
Antoine's
as
like
a-
potential gayness is kind of like out the window pretty quickly. And basically Philippe is sort of goes to work and befriends the colleagues, and it's only really like halfway through that I guess they all find out that he has been like telling his wife horror stories about the place, because he goes back down to his wife to visit his kid, and he's like pretending that it's horrible to get sympathy.
Because
and-
she's a lot nicer to him when she thinks he
Exactly,
is
he wants her
suffering.
pity. So she eventually insists on coming to visit, and they have to basically put on a performance of it being a shithole by using a tiny local abandoned village as
Yes.
like the fake version of the town. And meanwhile, Dany Boon's character has this thing where he lives with his mother, and his mother is causing issues with him trying to pursue this woman that he works with, and all of this. And it's like got a good bit of silly stuff and like physical comedy and goofy humor, but also I think it's like quite a sincere, like, this is actually a nice community and we shouldn't judge these areas. They actually have a lot of charm, and it's kind of ends up being kind of a pretty functional like tourist ad.
But it's also like a very pretty little town.
Yeah,
Like,
and it
it's-
makes it look nice. And there's this one very striking scene where Dany Boon's character starts playing the
Cloister, or what you call it.
up in the church tower, and the camera like zooms out of the church tower window and like starts panning around the town, and it's like, look how lovely this place is when the weather's good, and you're like, yeah, this isn't so bad. Which would be an interesting thing to try and project onto an Irish small town. I'm not sure you'd be able to do that as well. I think in France it's like, the floor of how ugly a French village is not that low, whereas like you could find some real shitholes in Donegal to do this, where it just never stops raining. So it's insanely successful in France, and I didn't tell Shane how much money it made, because
Oh, you were keeping it a secret.
I don't think it's within your realm of comprehension how much money it made, but maybe it is. So the population of France
It's about 80 million.
is
65 million, I would have thought.
69 million people.
Okay.
It's probably a bit lower in 2008, right? It's 20 years ago almost. The French do box office based on ticket sales.
So they just multiply. They count the tickets, or they're multiplying it here by a.
They count the tickets.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Are we inferring a €10 ticket price here?
I guess probably a little bit less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say like 6.
Student tickets, kids
So-
tickets.
No, but I'd say like even like
Just price the tickets.
is concession like the adult one.
Yeah.
Like that would probably have been about €6. Like France is pretty cheap,
Well-
even now compared
Actually,
to.
you know, all the French in their fake wheelchairs, everyone's getting.
We'll do the ticket
concessions
sales.
as well,
Ticket sales. This film in France sold 20 million tickets. And the French
Okay.
like the number gross is 192.9 million euro in France.
What the fuck?
The global gross, however, is 245 million because it
Jesus
actually did pretty well
Christ.
outside of France as well. This is on a budget of 14 million.
Like with 20 million tickets, that could have been over a third of the population of France.
So a third of the population of France saw this film, which
What is the Irish comparison?
there isn't.
Okay,
one.
sorry,
There's
there's no
never been
Irish-
anything remotely close to this in Ireland.
But what's the biggest film ever in art, like non-Irish film?
Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah.
And how much money did that make in Ireland?
I'd have
3
to
million? 4 million?
I'd say like 6 million.
Yeah.
I'll check that for you now.
Oh, but that's not even.
They don't
I
come
think
close
that's
at all.
comparable.
No. Barbie made 8.8 million in Ireland.
Right.
Okay, so that's one.
That's-
What's that? A euro and a half, 1.5 euro per person or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So that's like not even close. That's
Ah,
one. In,
this is just over 2.
is it?
Yeah.
But we're saying a third of the population of France went to see this film.
If 65 into 190 is 3,
Okay.
it's about €3 per person. This made
Yeah. Okay.
One
So does
60
that
per
mean
person.
does that mean that 1 in 3 Irish people saw Barbie?
less.
Less. Surely much less.
Anyway, sorry,
Well,
that's- we
anecdotally,
don't
that's,
need to- sure.
anecdotally,
There's that maths lesson.
Like,
anyway.
No,
anecdotally, that's
we've
not
done
true.
the scale. The scale is
Scale is off.
off.
Yeah.
I'd say people of every single age in France were going to see this. I
I'd
don't
say-
think old people were going to see Barbie.
Families were definitely going to see this. Grandparents, parents, kids. They were going back multiple times, I'd say.
Also, like just the general sheer number of cinemas in France, does it outnumber?
There's definitely
like,
more
does the
cinemas
average
in
small, does the average
honestly,
small
yeah.
town in France have a cinema like compared to the
I'm not
average
sure
village
about the average small town. I've not really spent much time there, but
Yeah.
like in Leon, for example, I think you'd probably about every 10-15 minutes, like every 10-15 minutes you'd encounter a cinema if
Yeah,
you
and it's
if you
showing
just
this
walk
even
throughout
today.
the city, like
Yeah, so this must have just been on for ages and ages.
Yeah.
I mean, what's crazy is that Les Intouchables only made a tiny bit less.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
that sold 19 million tickets.
Yeah.
3 years later. So within 3 years, they have these two absolutely enormous successes. Now, because this is going by tickets sold, you can actually see this is like adjusted for inflation.
Yeah.
The all-time box office chart, because they're going off tickets, not off money. So Titanic is number 1 with 22 million tickets
In France.
in France.
Yeah.
Then you've got this Les Intouchables. Then you've got 1938 Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Okay.
18 million tickets sold. This is the first animated feature film ever made, keep in mind.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Then you've got a 1966 French film, Don't Look Now, We're Being Shot At.
Yeah.
I don't know that film.
Like a war
That
film?
is a war film.
Yeah.
Then you've got Gone with the Wind, Avatar, 2002's Asterix and Obelix, Mission Cleopatra. So that had done well just before this. Then you've got Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West, the original Jungle Book, 101 Dalmatians, The Ten Commandments, and Avatar: The Way of Water in 2022 sold 14 million tickets.
Class.
But like the Marvel movies are not up here at all. Like literally, I'm looking and like there's no Avengers films in this top chart. The most recent film to get in here is a 2024 comedy called A Little Something Extra, which stars a comedian called Artus. Have you heard of this guy? No, he's like a young guy. And this is a 2024 comedy about a father and a son who take refuge in a summer camp for young adults with disabilities, posing as a resident and his teacher. There you go. So that made a huge amount of money in 2024. I'd say these films play for ages in French.
like because even when you mentioned there like Avengers or like the Marvel movies, I saw Was Infinity War the last?
That was
It was
Endgame was 19.
Endgame. Sorry,
Yeah.
so I went to see Endgame when I lived in France,
Yeah.
and like every cinema I went, I had to go to the fifth cinema I went to.
Yeah.
Was the only one that had like a ticket left. For
Right.
me.
Okay.
So I would probably say it's probably a situation in which, because like France has a lot of laws around preserving the French language.
Yeah.
I would say, and French media and stuff, I would say, yeah, they
have quotas to film.
They
maybe?
probably limit the amount
Yeah.
of like those Marvel movies,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
it's only for 2 weeks we're showing this.
Yeah. Whereas
And
this
then
just
the
played
likes
for a
of
year.
Bienvenue
Yeah.
Chez Les Ch'tis, it's like 3 months.
Just played- yeah.
Now
I'd say this
that's
played for
completely
longer.
based off opinion.
I would say longer
but-
than 3 months in this case, based on this.
But like even when you're listening to the radio in France,
Yeah.
they have to play. I think 80% of the songs have to be in the
Really?
French language.
because
or
we
something
have
like
we
that.
have a 25% Irish rule, and I think
Is that in all stations or just for the
no, that's all stations.
But
That's
it's even
for
on
the
TV
license.
now, and
Yeah.
I've noticed it a lot more, like
Yeah.
ads in the Irish language and stuff.
Yeah.
You can see like the merits of it.
Well, sorry. The 25% rule is for Irish.
Well,
artists,
Dermot Kennedy
or
and
Irish artists.
Kingfisher can see the merits of it.
They can. I don't understand how that quota was being met in like 2009. I guess you had Bell X1 in the script, but like
Yeah.
the Irish, but there's way more Irish pop music people are into now than there was 15 years ago.
Well, maybe they're exceeding the
They're well exceeding it now.
25% now.
But do you not think was there really 25% of music being played on Irish radio in 2009 was Irish music?
I had Snow Patrol and U2. And
But I
like,
think I can name those artists on one hand. It was Snow Patrol, U2, The Script, Bell X1, and
Two Door Cinema Club,
Tour Cinema Club. That's kind
Cranberries,
of no.
Shane O'Connor. Like,
Nah, not on 2FM.
Really?
Today FM in 2009. No. I think that's like much easier to hit those targets ever since. Anyway.
Probably.
Despite its huge financial success, it only got one César nomination the following year. So clearly, like, the Césars just did not see this as like a serious
This
film.
is actually a really I find as someone kind of peeking from the outside as an
Yeah.
English speaker who like kind of became involved in French culture and stuff
Yeah.
like that. The French, and you can see it from the kind of first two there, the top two French grossing movies
Yes.
in the French language in that list you mentioned, Intouchable and this one.
Yeah.
They're kind of comedy related. Now, Intouchable has a lot more emotion and is a bit more like
Yeah,
dramatic.
it's
and
very
stuff.
sentimental and charming and nice. Like,
It seems like the French comedies are the ones that translate.
Yeah.
And there's something in that French culture where they're actually kind of ashamed about that because they want
Yeah.
that artsy kind of thing.
And
They want
have
that like
too. They have both. you
they
know?
want
Like,
that new
yeah.
wave, like kind of
Yeah.
recognition to come back, where they want us to really appreciate the more artistic
Yeah.
and I guess experimental kind of movies they're
Yeah,
putting
but
out.
that's never stopped, you know. Like, I
No.
mean, France is still one of the main exporters of like critically acclaimed awardsy films every year, and I think they're one of the main countries that gets done a disservice by the Oscars running the international feature film with one film per country.
Yeah.
Because if that rule didn't exist, there would potentially be 3 French films nominated for Oscars every year, and because it does exist, they're capped at 1, same as Ireland is. And what happened in 2023 was that the French jury chose they chose The Taste of Things instead of Anatomy of a
Yes.
Fall. Anatomy of a Fall proceeded to get a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah.
It was a Palme d'Or winner. It was a huge movie. It got a Best Picture nomination, Best Actress, Best Director, everything. Well, maybe not Best Director. It won Screenplay. And as a result, they've now brought in a new rule this year to stop that happening again, where the Palme d'Or winner, the Toronto People's Choice winner, the Golden Lion winner at Venice, etc., can all compete for that award as well as the country's official selection if those films diverge and are different films. So now, if that happened again, Taste of Things could be France's official government selection, and Anatomy of a Fall could submit through the back door of having won the Palme d'Or.
but if Anatomy of a Fall was to win the Palme d'Or, would that create an incentive for the French to not pick it as?
Yes, it would, because they
Okay.
can now submit 2
So you
films.
can't win, but yeah, well, like it's not really an award to get picked by the French. It's just a selection process, I suppose. They don't get a.
But no, it's not an award. But
Yeah.
it's your one. But as in, if you're the French version of the company that I work for, and you want to, I think in France it's like the government ministry for arts or whatever, and you want to have 2 French films in the 5 Oscar nominations, your best bet is to let the film that you submit be different to the Palme d'Or winning French hit from 6 months ago, because then you're going to have 2 French films.
But there's no vote
instead of one.
splitting risks there or anything.
I don't think so. No.
Fine.
Anyway, the
Grand-
year that this was out and was a huge hit, the best film winner at the Césars was a film called Séraphine, which I cannot say I've heard of. It is directed by Martin Provost, and it is about the French painter Séraphine Louis with absolutely no information about it. That sounds boring. The other nominees that year were The Class, I've Loved You So Long with Kristen Scott Thomas, which I've heard of, Mezzine, which I have heard of, Paris, which is like a big ensemble comedy, which I have also heard of, The First Day of the Rest of Your Life, and A Christmas Tale. And I know that because I was in France when it came out. So like half of those are movies that reached me, but half of them aren't. And this is like a huge success. Now, this would be the equivalent, I guess, and I don't mean to be rude to this film, which I like a lot more than the film I'm about to mention. This is like how Mrs. Brown's Boys, the movie, did not get an IFTA nomination for Best Film, right? Like it was the biggest Irish film of that year. It's one of the biggest Irish films ever. That didn't mean that the awards body was going to recognize it because it was seen as commercial nonsense. So I guess that's how the French felt about this, right?
Yeah, I'd agree. And like, I wouldn't, for anyone listening, I wouldn't like take that as like you're associating the storyline or the script or anything.
No,
but it is that kind of
goofy comedy, and
the I guess the effect it had on and maybe the aims that the movie maybe went on to see. And I think I would say maybe something that maybe damaged it in terms of the César might have been that it was funded by like a tourism board.
Yeah, right.
So maybe they were like, why would we nominate this?
Yeah, this is low-key an
90-minute long ad for visiting this part of the country. And like, if that was the case, I'd kind of have to say I understand, but I disagree because I think now looking at like nearly 20 years later, the cultural impact this movie has had, not just within France but outside of France.
Yes.
But like they don't know this at the time.
This is your
only impression.
I've never met a French person. This is what I think they're all like.
That's fair. I think the only country that has remade this is Italy. So far, Benvenuti al Sud.
Yeah,
Welcome to the South.
You can kind of just make it.
You absolutely can.
You can translate this.
So they flipped north for south in the Italian one. A weird line in the first paragraph of the Wikipedia page for the Italian movie is the film was dedicated to Angelo Vassallo, an Italian mayor murdered for his anti-crime campaign. Okay. And the remake is it starts off and the guy is the postmaster in Brianza and he tries to get moved to Milan, but then instead he gets moved to Naples. So there you go. It's just like Naples, what a shithole.
Yeah, which is like I've never been, but from pictures I've seen, looks quite beautiful.
And they made a sequel called Benvenuti al Nord, where the opposite happens. He is back in his beloved northern Italy, but his friend is still in Naples. I don't know what happens in the second one. Jokes about the differences from the north to the south of Italy, occasionally challenging and often confirming these stereotypes. God, I'm shocked. There was talk of an American remake. Now, I don't know if this gentleman was going to star in the film, but he did negotiate to acquire the rights from Dany Boon to make an American remake. Do you want to guess what major movie star, Hollywood triple A-lister?
Robin Williams.
No, less obvious.
Okay.
Now, not. I can't imagine he would have starred in this film.
Right. Is he a bit too serious?
He's a bit too serious.
No, in the Dany Boon or the Kad Merad?
Oh, I don't think he was going to star in this, to be honest. He was. Will Smith met with Dany Boon to acquire the rights.
Okay.
And I saw somewhere unconfirmed that Carell was going to be in it, which would have made sense. I actually don't know. Steve Carell could have played either role, but probably the Dany Boon role.
Which two distinct cultures within the United States was this going to be based on?
Right?
Yeah.
If Will Smith was playing the Kad Merad role, you could probably have made it existing within black culture from one place to another without it being too troublesome. You got a black director and a black writer, and Will Smith was willing to do that.
I was also thinking it could be like a blue-red divide or something like that, where it's like someone from the Kad Merad is like this like blue state, blue city or whatever. Yeah. That was like a rural American town.
It would have been Hicksville stuff of like, down here we don't know.
Like I could see it being more of a like, we need, like, you know how the West Wing is like that kind of bipartisan, you know, we live in a world where Republicans and Democrats can get on.
This is in Obama years, it might have been.
This is something I feel like that's what probably would have happened.
Quite a lot of American media based on Republican going to
Yes.
Blue City or
There is.
in reverse.
But Steve Carell
Send
maybe
Steve
would
Carell
have.
down to Atlanta there with Paperboy and
Yeah, maybe. But what happens anyway is that 3 years after this film, Steve Carell is in a remake of another French comedy, and he's in Dinner for Schmucks, which is kind of too similar to this that he couldn't have done both. And in that, he plays the schmuck, and I don't think that character is a million miles away from the Dany Boon character in this. So I think he couldn't have done both. But interesting to think. I'd say enough time has passed now. That's not going to happen. But it says there were suggestions the plot would revolve around a multinational company. Oh, right. So he would have been moved outside the U.S.
Oh.
Oh, maybe he could have gone to like Newfoundland or something.
Could have went to Ireland or something,
Yeah.
even like.
Or somewhere like up really north in Canada.
somewhere
where
they have a
people are
bad
weird.
impression of the people.
Yes, but somewhere in Canada where people are like weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Alaska as well. Like,
Alaska
Alaska,
or
yeah.
something, yeah. So Dany Boon is like has a little like industry unto himself where he directs and he writes, and he seems to kind of be living the ultimate dream where he's just like constantly working, directs and writes his own movies, makes these comedies, but then also gets to star in like slightly more sincere and earnest dramas when he feels like it, which is like this seems like a dream career. So this is the first Dany Boon you saw, Pierce, I assume.
yes, I would say so. It's kind of a toss-up between this and Le Valet, which isn't a Dany Boon movie. It's just a movie that Dany Boon is in.
But Dany Boon was nominated for César for Best Supporting Actor for The Valet, and he loses to Kad Merad
Oh, no way.
for Don't Worry, I'm Fine.
Yeah.
And that's how they met, I guess, because that's 2 years before this movie, and they were rivals at the Césars. And what does he play in The Valet?
He's basically the main character's roommate who... I think we talked about this. He's very into playing the fool,
Okay,
or the
yes,
kind of
yes.
like deadbeat, and so it's that kind of like silly man type thing.
Well, I didn't realize that Dany Boon has a bunch of like comedy specials from the like early 2000s, and like Shane, if you saw these posters from the 90s, actually, he looks like French Lee Evans on these posters.
Oh, this is like his stand-up
Yeah.
stuff, yeah. Like because it's kind of an interesting thing. Is a lot of his stand-up that I'd seen anyway
Yeah.
was based on being from
Ch'ti background.
that
yeah.
area, and like he'd like pretending to do a.
Is that where he's from? Or is
I
that-
believe so.
his
Yeah,
family are from there, yeah,
because like
definitely.
he was talking, like one of his jokes that I remember from his stand-up is like he's talking about how the South have this monopoly on tourism and look at our beautiful blue sea, and he's like, it doesn't work for the North because we're like, the sea is a beautiful grey this time of year, the sky is also a beautiful grey this time of year, and like a lot of his stuff is based on it's miserable but I love it sort of a thing.
He, I think, trained as a mime, as all French do, every French person. And his comedy specials look very like French Lee Evans. He's got big ears. He's making funny faces. But he's doing like big comedy shows in the 90s and then gets into movies. And I guess this is his big breakout hit as a lead and as a filmmaker. And him and Kad Merad work together again in the years that follow. A film called Superchondriac, which I watched. Didn't think it was very good. Starts off funny, where the joke is that Dany Boon is, a hypochondriac who's going into his doctor all the time. He's, I'm dying. Like, that stuff's kind of funny. And then halfway through, it turns into this really convoluted thing where he's like pretending to be a famous revolutionary who's trying to help refugees escape from internment camps. And it becomes this like Sacha Baron Cohen's The Dictator almost type thing where he's like wearing like funny military uniforms and stuff. Lost me completely. I couldn't figure out what was going on.
I have not seen it, and I would
good.
not have guessed it would go that direction.
That's
like,
exactly. I didn't need it to go in a direction. I needed, like, the poster was funny. I didn't need it to not be like the poster.
Everything French descends into revolution if you give it long enough.
Yeah, I guess so. There's another one he directed 2010, so pretty soon after this that I watched, Rien à déclarer, Nothing to Declare.
yes.
This is another culture clash one set in the north of France, but it's about the dissolution of the Belgian-French border in the 1990s and the idea of a French and a Belgian customs officer having to work together in a new collaborative environment. And the other guy in this is Benoit Poulvoorde, and there's a lot of Belgian actors in this, and it's clearly like a Belgian co-production.
Yeah.
And it's like got a lot of like Belgian humor, and a lot of the jokes are just like, I do not like him because he is French. I do not like him because he's Belgian. that joke doesn't really go very far with me.
And it's a weird one as well, because I think I said this to you, because I'd watched it, and it's not a great movie. There are like maybe some good bits, but the weird thing, and I think the thing that I found funny is that the Belgian guy is like this Belgian kind of super nationalist, and he's like really proud of being Belgian, and he's like, there's like a scene where he's with his son, and he's like, look up at the stars, they belong to Belgium because they're above Belgium.
Yes, and he's moving the road sign.
He slowly moves the border into France, and he reclaims like a meter every night.
That stuff is funny.
I was like, that's kind of funny, because if you ever go to Belgium, you know, there's not really that many people like that. They're like, if they're nationalists, they're like Wallon or Flemish. But they don't really seem to believe in that Belgian identity as much as their regional identity.
Yes. What that film has, which Bienvenue does not have, is the most annoying score I've ever heard in my entire life, which is like do 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 blaring in every scene, and then there's a big "I believe I can fly" needle drop at the end, which really pisses me off. I can't stand that song being used in films. It's so irritating. That's like 8-year-old child humor. Other Dany Boon movies, we've got one that's like an action comedy called or AID Special Unit, where he works on like a SWAT team thing, and then they recruit their first woman, and he has to deal with working with a woman. He was in a romantic comedy with Diane Kruger a couple of years ago called A Perfect Plan, and then there's a lot of other silly ones, some of which he's the lead in, some of which he seems to be.
Is he in any English-speaking films?
Yes. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston's Murder Mystery, where he plays the French detective, which is a really fun bit of casting of him. As like, they could have gotten an American actor to do a French accent, but they got the actual big French comedy star. And I think that's Sandler recognizing game of like, this guy's kind of doing a thing that I'm doing over France, and we should work together. And that's a bit like another version of when, not to incite this violent property again, but when Mrs. Brown showed up in a Tyler Perry Medea movie, which was just nuts, and it was Medea Homecoming, which is regretfully the only Medea film I've seen. Where should we do that on Boy Party someday? Maybe we should.
Brendan O'Carroll and
Tyler Perry, and basically Tyler Perry's Medea gets a visit from her Irish cousins inexplicably. Brendan O'Carroll's Mrs. Brown and his wife show up, and it's a Irish Black American culture clash comedy, and it's just as tasteful.
I think
as that
like
sounds.
Vaguely remember stuff about that. I never saw it.
I feel like I forgot that existed, and I did a whole podcast with Hannah on City Sickos about Mrs. Brown's Boys movie recently. I don't think we mentioned Medea Homecoming once, but they never go to Ireland, which is a pity, because I love to meet Tyler Perry.
Just on the like murder mystery thing, I think it's always interesting, because I think when I was describing Dany Boon to you both, before like this kind of became a thing that we decided to do on the podcast. I was kind of saying that I kind of feel like he is the French Sandler in a way, because now obviously there's some differences there, but just in terms of the cultural impact he has on French cinema, the kind of movies he writes, and also he has this kind of group that he tends to always cast in his movies as well.
And like clearly you're saying the mother from this film is in a lot of his stuff.
There was the guy who's like also in the post office, who at first doesn't like him. He's like in the Rihanna Declaré, and but like I think though as well, like the key differences there would be like, I was thinking about this, is like Sandler, especially the movies I'm like way more familiar with in terms of, you know, the Happy Gilmore kind of era. It's sort of like movies of your dad telling you stories about his life before you were born.
Right.
Like I could see my dad like telling me a story where he became a pro golfer because he played hockey. Whereas with Dany Boon, it's like, I'm this lovable idiot who also gets the girl, and you're kind of like, you've kind of taken me. And a lot of his movies are like out of the realms of possibility. Whereas Sandler's are very much grounded. Like they're still like a weird situation. But
I think he also just, there's less. I mean, obviously France pumps out a lot of films, but like there are objectively less movies being made in France at a big budget level than there are in America. So there's like, he can just be like, I'm going to do a comedy about a SWAT team where a woman joins, and you're like, okay, they don't make 5 movies like that a year in France, whereas in America there's 5 movies like that a year, 10 movies like that a year. So he can kind of tick these very broad genre boxes off, because there's not a whole lot of like saturation in France. The interesting thing to me is that he's also doing this like mawkish sentimental stuff, like this movie Regarde, about a young boy going blind who goes on a holiday with his divorced parents. And this just looks like this like tearjerker sentimental nonsense where Dany Boon is like clutching his blind son's shoulder on the poster, and I'm like, yeah, so I guess he's also doing what Robin Williams was doing in the 90s of making like Patch Adams and, you know, all these like real sentimental films, which is something that these comedy actors can fall into, which is like, I want to be taken seriously, but their idea of being taken seriously is just doing these like tragedy misery movies to try and like win respect and awards. And it's like, he'd actually be better off doing what Adam Sandler does and finding a French filmmaker who wants to use his persona to do something really weird and interesting. And like, where's Dany Boon's Uncut Gems? That's what I say.
Yeah.
But Kad Merad has like actually a higher level of output of comedies than Dany Boon, because clearly Dany Boon is like writing and directing these films, and he's like dedicating time to them. Kad Merad cashes in big time after Bienvenue and just makes loads and loads and loads of comedy movies that look like kind of interchangeable in the 2010s. So we got movies with names like Looking for Teddy, about a missing teddy bear, 100 Million, where I'm guessing he wins the lottery, Just a Gigolo, Safari came out the year after, and it looks like good fun. It's him standing in the African jungle wearing a safari outfit with his arms outstretched. And
I actually vaguely remember I may have watched that.
It looks like
in
good
like a French class.
Yes. Lularban, King of My Castle, The Big Hit, Mais qui aurait tué Pamela Rose, Un ticket pour l'espace. Again, he's ticking the boxes. There's a space movie. There's an African safari movie. There's one called ORTT, which is like set at an airport. There's Protéger et Servir, Protect and Serve, which is a cop movie. La Mélodie, they're playing musical instruments. Marseille, about, you know, brothers reconnecting later in life. On a marché sur Bangkok. Like he's literally, actually, these are like fake movies from funny people. Like these are like fake comedies that like a fictional character would be in. I watched him in the adaptation of the classic French children's book Petit Nicolas, which I thought was quite poor. That's another French book that was included in the curriculum in our class of like, Petit Nicolas, you can read this if you want to learn French. Are we going to read it in class? No, we're not. That film is real fucking basic children's movie. It's like French Diary of a Wimpy Kid with all the fun taken out. It's like, oh no, my dad is crazy. He's played by Kad Merad. My mother bakes cookies. This is my struggle. And there's not a lot of actual like comedy situations in that film. I watched it on a train last week and I was bored out of my mind. Dany Boon never made an actual sequel, but he did make a sort of spiritual sequel where the roles are reversed, which is called La Ch'tis Famille. And this is released on the 10-year anniversary in 2018. And he completely flips roles in this. He plays this like snooty Parisian?
No, he's actually like born and bred in Ch'tis country.
But where does he live now?
He lives in Paris.
He lives in Paris, and he's a big fancy architect
Yeah.
who wears fancy clothes and hangs out in, you know, galleries. And then he's pretending to everybody that his family's all dead.
That he was an orphan.
Yeah, and then they surprise him showing up to his big art opening, and he's horrified, and he has to embrace this family that he's rejected. I watched half of this today.
He also like the whole thing is like it's like a bit of an amnesia cliche where he gets hit by a car and he reverts back to his 17-year-old self.
So he starts talking like that
the year before he runs away to Paris. So he starts talking in Ch'tis. He's like in love with his sister-in-law, who it turns out that he had a relationship with before she married his brother.
Yes.
And like his wife, who is Parisian, who's played by, I believe, his partner at the time.
Okay.
She's like trying to embrace his culture.
Laurence Arnay.
Yeah, and it basically culminates in like escaping that busy city Parisian life. He comes to terms with how he's always been like stuck up and you know, just returns back to the quiet life and how great the quiet life is and the family. And
so funny. Anti-Paris propaganda. I watched the first half of it, which was enough of it for me to see Kad Merad's fun cameo.
Yes.
Where he shows up, Julia Roberts in Ocean's 12 style, as himself.
And they're like, that's Kad Merad.
They're crossing the road, and they see him coming, and Dany Boon says to his wife, what's his name again? And she goes, Kad Merad. And he goes, oh, Kad, good to see you. And Kad Merad is like, I love the show. We are leaving. And that's it. It's funny, though. It's kind of weird he didn't find like a big role for him in the movie if he wanted to work with him. Like, surely...
I wonder if he just didn't. I wonder if he just was like, I just want to...
I think Dany Boon clearly did not want to just straight up make a sequel to this, which is admirable.
Unless Kad Merad didn't want to be in it, because I feel like if Kad Merad wanted a bigger role,
would've
they
given it
would
to
have, because we talked about it when the movie was over.
Yeah.
There's a space there for a sequel in which
Absolutely.
Dany Boon's character
Yeah.
moves south or
Exactly.
something.
Yeah. And he's the
And
fish
then
out of
he's
water.
struggling with that
Yeah.
cultural.
Which is what the Italian one probably
Shock.
does.
Yeah.
I think someone decided that there was never going to be a sequel, and clearly by the time they made Ch'tis Famille, they had just like moved on to like, we're going to do something else. Which is, it's fair enough. If a movie makes that much money and you don't make a sequel to it, I respect that.
And the longer it goes on,
Yeah.
the more pressure there is to deliver on that sequel.
I know, exactly. So I think now that's
They probably just re-release it every year anyway for a while.
maybe they
and,
do,
like,
yeah. 10-year, 20-year anniversary, yeah. We'll have the 20-year reunion. They'll present Best Film at the Césars in 2028. Great. All right. Box office time, Shane.
BOT.
Now, when did this open in the United States? Because this is the box office we're looking for.
Pierce, is this in your letterbox top 4?
If you had one,
I don't
maybe
actually
it
have
would
a
be.
letterbox.
This is not in anyone's letterbox top 4 of any famous people's, which is just a virtue of they don't interview French people very often. I'm sure some French actor would probably put it in their top 4, but apologies. There's a Dutch remake I forgot to mention.
Oh.
Let me get you this US release date, Shane.
Thank you.
This film was released in the United States on the let's just go with the 20th of February 2008. 20th of February 2008. It's around the same time of year that Wild Hogs was released, actually. What was I about to say?
February.
Yeah, 20th February 2008. The Dutch remake is called Weg van Jou, a play on words that both means away from you and smitten with you. City slicker Evie gets relocated from metropolitan Rotterdam to the rural Dutch province of Zeeland. In Zeeland, she gets smitten with a local man. Oh, so that turns it into a romance because it's a female lead who goes to the sticks and meets a man. Interesting. It's called Love Over Distance in the English-speaking world. God, I don't think I've ever watched a film in Dutch. Not bad. I feel like Dutch film does not reach me at all.
I remember going to the Netherlands and every second of the day on TV on Dutch Comedy Central was Nathan for You.
Right, okay.
And I was just like, this seems like the most Dutch thing possible.
Yeah.
Like,
I googled famous Dutch actors there. There's only like 2 I recognize. Famke Janssen and Rutger Hauer. That is a country, for all of its cultural impact, that really does not produce many well-known filmmakers or actors or whatever.
it's all DJs.
It's all DJs, exactly. You got that box office, Shane?
I do indeed.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
February 2008. What do we got? Let me look it up because I don't know this film, but it's a
Okay.
It's a location where you can see things pretty well.
Is it a mountain?
Vista.
No.
Is it you can see things pretty well? Literally, like you have a good viewpoint.
Yeah.
Is it a building?
No, but you got one of the words correct there.
The something.
You give this 4 stars.
Okay.
8 strangers, 8 points of view, 1 truth.
Vantage Point.
Vantage Point.
Good film. This is about a political assassination attempt, and you get to see it from 8 different points of view. The film stops and restarts every few minutes. Dennis Quaid, Forrest Whitaker. Quite a good time. I'd rewatch that, actually.
Is that a good hang?
That's a fun movie. Vantage Point. Number 1.
Number 1. Open number 1 this weekend.
February, I guess.
Dennis Quaid.
Dany Quaid.
Denny Quaid. Next up, we got a children's movie.
Okay.
Their World is Closer Than You Think.
Oh.
Um,
It's not The Last Mimsy.
No, this has... The name suggests that you might not want to watch this, but you have watched it.
Spiderwick Chronicles.
Correct.
No spiders in the Spider Chronicles.
No
Did you see
spider
Spider
in the-
Chronicles?
It sounds familiar.
It's Freddie Highmore, Sarah Balger.
Is it a kids movie?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
based
I
on
probably
series of books.
saw it, but
There's like trolls in the woods and goblins
Oh,
and stuff.
yeah.
Friend of the show, Sarah Balger, is the sister in that film. Freddie Highmore plays twins, and the mother is Vera Farmiga, I guess. I don't like that film. Anyway,
Nope.
I actually did a podcast on that years ago. I did an episode of Where's the Damn Sequel with Sally Doby about that film. If anyone wants to go listen to that.
Next up, we got a movie about a guy who can probably just do one thing, and they made a movie about it, and the tagline is "Anywhere is possible."
Anywhere is possible.
Yeah.
That's Jumper.
Jumper.
So
I
that
assume we
is
just jumped
another film we did on Where's the Damn Sequel.
Is it? Okay.
Where Hayden Christensen can jump
Oh yeah.
and he teleports, directed by Doug Liman. And it's very short. Not a lot happens in it.
Yeah.
The posters are cool because he's like on top of the pyramids and he's on top of this. It's like, where will he go next? It's okay.
He just bounces around.
He bounces around. That's it. It's a teleportation movie.
Yeah.
Sam Jackson shows up and is like, I need you to jump into a bank.
It was like one of the few things he kind of did after Star Wars.
He really is like the last, blockbuster he was ever
Was it
in.
him that's in Shattered Glass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was before Star Wars.
That was before. Really? Was it? Okay.
Mary Louise Parker is the mother in Spider Chronicles. Apologies to Vera Farmiga for not getting that role.
Next up, a dancing movie.
Step Up to the Streets.
Correct.
Never seen any of those. People like them.
It's Channing Tatum, isn't
Channing
it?
Tatum. Your man who directed Wicked, that's where he started out, was doing those. I have no real interest in breakdancing and like street dancing. I don't think I'm ever going to get around to them, but
It's almost like the opposite of a musical, where it's like I'm just going to watch people dance
exactly.
instead of listen to
there's a
people
lot of
sing.
dance movies in the 2000s. Never seen any of them.
Yeah, there was like a competing kind of franchise
few of
with
them,
Step
yeah.
Up, wasn't there?
There was another one, and then there's stuff like Honey, and there's like girl versions of it as well. Like
Pitch Perfect, kind of.
nah, those are singing.
It is
movies.
singing, but it's
Magic Mike.
Magic Mike.
Those are
So,
dance
yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Speaking of Magic Mike,
Oh, Channing Tatum. Yeah.
no, not Channing
Oh,
Tatum.
we have a Soderbergh.
Nope,
No,
another guy who pops up in Magic Mike.
McConaughey.
Yes,
Fool's Gold.
correct. And the tagline of this film is very much tied to its release date. In that the tagline is, "This February, true love takes a dive."
True Love Takes a Dive. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're diving for gold.
Diving for
Him
gold,
and
yeah.
Kate Hudson. Yeah,
Correct.
Never seen.
I have.
Matthew McConaughey and Kate Hudson is like nightmare boys party rotation to me. Like,
Yeah, just like not.
awful vibes together. I don't want anything to do with that.
Yep.
Someday, some guest will want to do How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and I will reluctantly agree to it. So,
Okay, we got a film with some punctuation.
okay, some commas.
A comma. A single
One
comma.
comma.
One comma.
So it's something, something, and something.
No.
No. Okay.
Something, something.
Something, comma, something.
Yeah.
Is it a name of a place?
Nope.
It's not Paris, comma, Texas type thing.
Mm-mm. There's another famous film that has a very similar punctuation
I don't know.
that we have covered on the podcast.
that's gonna confuse me more. Give me a director, a review, anything. Another
I
film.
never knew this movie had such a similar premise to How I Met Your Mother. This is your review.
Yeah. So it's
But done far more
definitely,
successfully.
comma, maybe.
Definitely,
with Ryan
comma,
Reynolds. That is good. That's a good film.
Correct.
That was the film that sparked my weird 2-week Isla Fisher run last
Okay.
year. Because she's so charming in that I was like, I'm going to watch like 5 Isla Fisher romantic comedies.
Love Actually was the comparison I was making.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We're going to do one more because it has the exact same comma preference.
No
or
way.
comma.
No
inclusion.
way.
This time it's 2 words, comma, name.
2 words, comma, name.
Yeah.
So it's like good luck, Charlie, good luck, Chuck.
You've got the format correct there.
So it's Stay Golden,
Nope.
Johnny. Give me the name. I Love You, Philip Morris.
Roscoe Jenkins.
Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins.
Welcome Home,
With
Roscoe
Tim Allen.
Jenkins. Yeah.
No, Martin Lawrence. Because I saw that last week when I was,
Oh, you threw it on.
quote, no, I didn't watch it. I saw the poster and I went, no, thank you. When I was, quote, researching for this podcast, I saw that film and I went, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence confirmed. All right. Anything else in there?
I will rattle off the rest of the top 10 because we've guessed 7 already.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Juno.
Very good.
Be Kind, Rewind opening.
Great film. Great
And-
film.
Real fun hang, There Will Be Blood.
Oh, yes. I explicitly remember going to see Be Kind Rewind in the cinema and the poster for Step Up to the Streets being up on the wall. So
We've also got The Bucket List and No Country for Old Men up next.
those are all the like Oscar hangovers from
Yeah.
the previous year. Very good. The reason I thought Vera Farmiga was the mother in The Spider Chronicles is because the same year she was the mother in The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Oh,
so that's where that came from. Pierce, any final thoughts on this film or the careers of these gentlemen?
Well, just the that game there just inspired me. Would you guys be interested in me giving you the English version of the French translation
Yes.
of a movie title, and you have to guess the actual movie title?
Absolutely. These are like American films.
These are American films
Okay,
that I'm
Translated
gonna
French.
And then translate it
the,
back.
the version that the French advertise
okay,
it as,
yeah,
and then
okay.
translate it into
Okay,
English.
Right.
go for it. That sounds
Okay,
fun.
so I'm gonna say the French one first, and then I'll say the English translation. Maman, j'ai raté l'avion. Mom, I missed the plane.
Okay.
Home Alone.
Home Alone, yeah.
There we go. Home Alone.
Very good. That's I guess.
Interesting. That's not a direct.
But
Just
Home Alone is like a nice little kind of catchy rhyming thing that
Yeah.
doesn't work in other languages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Les dents de la mer, the teeth of the sea.
Jaws.
Yes.
Interesting. What's the French word for Jaws? It's probably just not a very catchy word.
It's a word I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Who knows? That's very specific.
Teeth. Yeah, well,
Jaws could be called teeth.
Les dents.
Yeah,
Teeth.
you could call it that.
Du soleil plein la tête.
Oh.
A head full of sun.
A head full of sun.
Little Miss Sunshine.
No.
No, I have no idea what that could be.
The first word in the title
Mm-hmm.
is
Head full of.
can also be used like in the English title. You could say forever instead of this word.
Always.
No.
Forever.
Eternal sunshine
Of
the
the spotless
mind.
There you
mind.
go,
There
yeah.
you
Head full
go.
of sunshine.
Head full of sun.
Head full of sun.
Doesn't really make any sense.
Rasta rocket.
Rasta Rocket.
Pineapple Express.
I just wanted to quickly say
This
that
is a Disney movie.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is directed by a Frenchman, so he probably picked that very specifically. This is a Disney movie. Rasta Rocket. Ratatouille? No, of course
No.
that's called Ratatouille in France. Stupid thing to say. Rasta Rocket. I have no idea. Oh, is it? It's not Cool Runnings.
It is Cool
Yes.
Oh, very good.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
What has black people do it from like that part of the world doing a thing?
Now, this one is kind of ridiculous. Mon beau-père et moi. My father-in-law and me.
Oh Jesus, that's Meet the
Fuckers.
Parents.
That is Meet the
Yeah.
Parents, okay.
I knew that one.
I'm just going to have this one as a kind of like
Yeah.
honorable mention, but I'll ask you anyway because we've done the 5.
Yeah.
This one is just ridiculous. The young people who The young people who traverse dimensions while wearing sunglasses.
Spy
Jesus
Kids.
Christ.
Not Spy Kids.
No.
Fucking,
Not Shark Boy.
No.
Wearing
Men in Black.
No.
Young people wearing sunglasses.
The young people who traverse dimensions while wearing sunglasses.
That I have no idea.
The Matrix.
Oh, what?
Young people.
Matrix is probably, I think Le Matrix would work. I think Matrix is a word derived from French.
That's ridiculous.
But even if it's not, it
And
sounds
then-
like a made up enough word that you could just call your film that anyway.
Some additional honorable mentions that I won't have you guess.
Yeah.
Step Up 2, which we just mentioned,
Yes.
is called Sexy Dance 2.
Of course, yes.
Pitch Perfect is called Hit Girls.
Okay, it's not called sexy singing.
Hit Girls. I
The other guys, Very Bad Cops.
Sexy guys, yeah.
And Sexy Guys. And my personal favorite is White Chicks is False Blonde Infiltrators,
yes.
FBI.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
We also have The Hangover being Very Bad Trip.
Very Bad
Bad
Trip.
Trip.
There was one recently as well. Yeah, no, it's good fun.
It's just seeing the translations back in English is mad.
One-
And then if you look at like the Quebecois French versions, even more insane.
I thought that film See How They Run in France was being called Coup du Théâtre was a much better name because it's about a murder at a theater. See How They Run was it's a terrible name, meaningless. All right, I think we're done. Nothing else to add?
No,
Great.
that was me. Thank
you so much for having us,
me.
Pierce, and sharing your wisdom and introducing us to the world of Dany Boon and Les Ch'tis. Everybody will be back next week speaking perfect English, no French. Bastille Day is over, cancelled, done.
Will France be knocked out of the World Cup by the time this
I
comes
don't
out?
know. That's a good question.
No.
When's
don't
the World
know.
Cup final?
19th.
5 days from this episode's release.
Oh.
Okay. Next week's episode, we will be discussing The Odyssey, unless its release gets cancelled
Yeah,
between now and then.
it might.
Don't know why that would happen.
No, either.
You might be getting that episode in your feeds a little bit early. We'll probably drop it on the Sunday or the Monday, depending on when we get to record. Try and capitalize on the hype. Visit boypartypod.com, follow boypartypod on Instagram, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you all. Get home from the party. Au revoir.